Title: My Addiction. I used to be a Snapchat addict. Every waking moment was spent scrolling through my feed, sending snaps, and keeping up with the latest filters. My friends and I had a streak that had reached an impressive 552 days. But that all changed one fateful night. It was a stormy evening, rain pelted against my window, and the wind howled like a banshee. I was home alone, my parents out of town for the weekend. Boredom had crept in, and I found myself aimlessly snapping photos of my dog, Max, who was snuggled up beside me on the couch. That's when I received a notification, a message from a username I didn't recognize. Snap with me 6666. It had a devil emoji for a profile picture, and its score was 0. Strange, but curiosity got the best of me. I opened the message. The image sent was a blurry, darkened photo of what seemed to be an old, decrepit house with shattered windows and overgrown weeds. The caption beneath it read, "Come and play with me." My heart raced as I stared at the eerie image. It had to be a prank, right? I decided to reply, "Who is this?" Almost instantly, another snap arrived, this time a video. It was a close-up of a decaying, grotesque face. Its eyes rolled back and its mouth twisted in a horrifying grin. I couldn't look away, frozen in terror as the seconds ticked by. Just as suddenly as it had begun, the video ended, leaving me staring at my screen, my hands trembling. I tried to rationalize it, thinking it was just a well-done scare. But that gut feeling, that eerie chill down my spine, told me otherwise. The messages continued, each one more unsettling than the last. Distorted, demonic voices accompanied by disturbing images. The words on the screen seemed to speak directly to my soul, taunting and tormenting me. I tried blocking the user, but it was as if Snap with me 66666 was invincible, always finding its way back into my messages. I decided to call my friends, hoping they could help me make sense of it all. Their voices quivered on the other end as I told them about the horrifying messages. They pleaded with me to delete my Snapchat account, but I was stubborn, not wanting to give in to the fear. Hours turned into an eternity as the relentless torment continued. Snap with me 666 seemed to know everything about me, my deepest fears, my darkest secrets. I felt like I was losing my mind, trapped in a nightmare I couldn't escape. Then, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, I received a message that chilled me to the bone. It was a live video snap, and the camera was pointed directly at my front door. I watched in horror as the doorknob slowly turned, and the door creaked open. I screamed, dropping my phone and racing for the front door, but there was nothing there. No one. The rain still poured and the wind howled, but the house was empty. I grabbed my phone, trembling, and checked Snapchat. Snap with me 66 was gone, as if it had never existed. I deleted Snapchat that night, but the terror stayed with me. Every shadow, every creak in the house felt like a lingering presence from that horrifying night. I don't know who or what Snap with me 666 was, but one thing was for sure. It had forever changed my relationship with social media, and the fear of the unknown still haunts me to this day. Title: The Haunting Snap. I've always been a tech-savvy person, so when Snapchat introduced its latest update promising an immersive augmented reality experience, I couldn't resist giving it a try. Little did I know that my decision would lead me down a dark and chilling path. One evening, as I lay in bed, the dim glow of my smartphone lighting up the room, I opened Snapchat. The new filter, named the Portal, caught my eye. It claimed to transport users to haunted places from around the world. Skeptical but curious, I activated it. In an instant, my surroundings transformed. I found myself standing in an eerie, moonlit forest, the sound of rustling leaves and distant whispers echoing through the trees. It felt real. Too real. I swiped left to return to my room, but the filter remained active. Panic set in as I realized I couldn't exit the application. Desperate, I tried to power off my phone, but it was as if Snapchat had taken control. The eerie forest continued to unfurl around me, growing darker with each passing second. I stumbled through the haunted woods, shadows closing in on all sides. A spectral figure emerged from the darkness, a girl in a tattered white dress, her face hidden behind long, matted hair. She whispered something unintelligible, sending shivers down my spine. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The filter had me trapped in this sinister realm. With each passing minute, the haunted forest grew more terrifying. Ghostly apparitions drifted through the trees, their hollow eyes fixated on me. Unearthly cries filled the air, and I could feel an otherworldly presence closing in around me. I realized that Snapchat had transported me to a place where the boundary between the living and the dead was thin. The filter had become a portal to a nightmarish dimension, and I was its unwilling visitor. The only way out was to complete the filter's sinister challenge, find the ghost girl and listen to her whisper. Trembling with fear, I followed the eerie whispering, eventually coming face to face with the ghostly girl. She whispered her tale, a tragic story of betrayal and sorrow that sent a chill through my soul. As her whispering ceased, the forest began to fade away, and I found myself back in my room. Breathing heavily, I realized that Snapchat had returned to its normal state. The haunted forest was gone, but the memory of that terrifying encounter would haunt me forever. I deleted the app, vowing never to use it again. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Snapchat had shown me a glimpse into a world that should never have been discovered. To this day, I can still hear the ghost girl's haunting whisper in my dreams, a chilling reminder of the night I ventured into the dark side of Snapchat, a place where the line between the digital and the supernatural is frighteningly thin. Title: The Snapchat Stalker. I never believed in the supernatural or the paranormal. Ghost stories, urban legends, and all that jazz. They were just tales to spook the gullible. But one eerie encounter changed everything, and it all started with Snapchat. It was a chilly October night, and my friends and I decided to have a Halloween-themed sleepover. As we gathered in my dimly lit living room, we began sharing our favorite scary stories. I wasn't one to be easily frightened, so I casually mentioned the rumors I'd heard about a haunted Snapchat filter. Legend had it that if you used a certain filter at exactly 3:33 a.m. on Halloween night, you would see something terrifying lurking in the background. A shadowy figure that followed you around, only visible through the app. The story seemed preposterous, but it piqued our curiosity. Around midnight, my friends and I decided to try it out. We huddled together, half laughing at the absurdity of our endeavor, as I opened Snapchat. I selected the ominous filter, rumored to reveal the unseen. The clock ticked, and at precisely 3:33 a.m., we snapped a picture of ourselves, silly grins and all. The filter applied, and we gasped in shock. There, standing behind us, was a shadowy figure, as the legend foretold. Its face was shrouded in darkness, but its presence was undeniable. We stared at the image in disbelief, fear gnawing at the edges of our minds. We dismissed it as a well-crafted prank, blaming our overactive imaginations. But as the night wore on, strange things began happening. The lights flickered red, and the room grew colder. Unexplained sounds echoed through the house, as if something unseen was moving in the shadows. Then, the Snapchat app pinged. A new message from an unknown user had appeared. It was an image, a close-up of the shadowy figure we had captured earlier. Panic surged through us, and we scrambled to close the app, but it wouldn't budge. The message read, "You should not have seen me." Suddenly, my phone began vibrating violently, and the figure from the app seemed to materialize in the room. It was there in the corner of the room, a dark, menacing presence. Terrified, we tried to flee, but the door slammed shut, trapping us inside. The figure moved closer, its presence overwhelming. We huddled in a corner, trembling with fear as it drew near. Its hollow, emotionless eyes bore into us, and the room filled with a bone-chilling cold. Then, it whispered, "You wanted to see the unseen. Now you will never escape me." In a panic, we prayed for salvation, and as the first rays of dawn broke through the windows, the figure dissipated, vanishing into thin air. The door swung open, and we scrambled out, vowing never to speak of our horrifying experience again. From that night on, I knew that the supernatural was real, and Snapchat had been our unwitting portal to it. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that the shadowy figure still lingers, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim to try and capture the unseen horrors lurking in the digital world. Title: Unknown User. I was alone in my dimly lit room, scrolling through Snapchat late at night. My friends had all gone to bed, but my insomnia kept me up. As I swiped through stories of parties and pets, a new notification popped up. Snapchat user, unknown Chan23, 3, wants to add you as a friend. Curiosity got the best of me and I accepted the request. Within seconds, a new chat popped up. The username was unsettling, just a jumble of letters and numbers, but I decided to play along. Unknown 123. Hello there. Me. Hey, who are you? Unknown 123. Just a friend. Something about this conversation felt off, but I continued anyway. Me. How did you find me? Unknown 123. I find everyone eventually. Chills ran down my spine, but I convinced myself it was just a prank. Me. All right. What do you want? Unknown 123. To show you something special, check your Snap Map. I hesitated but eventually opened the Snap Map. My location was pinpointed on the map, but there was another marker right next to mine, labeled Unknown 123. Me. What's this? Unknown 123. I'm closer than you think. I glanced around my room, suddenly feeling paranoid. Was someone watching me? My phone's camera light flickered, and I saw a fleeting reflection of a hooded figure behind me. Me. Who are you? Are you in my house? Unknown 123. I can be wherever I want. Watch your surroundings. Terrified, I turned on all the lights and my heart pounded as I scanned every corner of my room. There was no one there. Unknown 23. Impressive, isn't it? I can see you, but you can't see me. Me. This isn't funny anymore. Stop it. Unknown 123. I'll stop when you play my game. A video appeared in our chat. I reluctantly opened it. It showed a timer counting down from 60 seconds. I watched in horror as the timer reached 30 seconds, then 10, then 5. Unknown 123. Time's up. The screen went black, and my phone went dead. Panic set in as I fumbled to turn it back on, but it remained lifeless. After what felt like an eternity, my phone finally powered back up. I frantically checked Snapchat, but the chat with Unknown 123 was gone. My location on SnapMap was no longer visible. I never saw Unknown 123 again, but the fear of that night still lingers. To this day, I wonder who or what I encountered on Snapchat that night, and if they're still out there, lurking in the digital shadows.